you do all of these things and yet you're still trying to convince yourself that you love yourself. It doesn't make sense. Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you are all doing well. This video was not planned, hence the lighting. Please excuse everything, but these always seem to be the best kind of videos in terms of just me talking about my journey and also helping you guys with the things that I have learnt along the way. This morning I went to the gym. It's been quite a lazy, I've been feeling a bit sluggish and demotivated in terms of going to the gym, and so I have actually switched to using the gym in my apartment building. And obviously it's a new space, and getting confident in the gym, especially in a new space, can be a bit of a challenge because you're working out around people who you've never met before, and just generally I was feeling a bit conscious this morning, and I had a great workout. Everything turned out great. I actually filmed an Instagram reel, so head over to my Instagram to see that because it'll be up by now. And when I came back and I hopped in the shower, I got changed and I was feeling a little bit hot, so I changed into this vest top. And when I wore this vest top, I was reminded of a conversation I had with my sister. And I remember in one of my videos, actually a couple months ago, like ages ago, last year, I wore a vest top like this but in black, and I never used to show my arms on my channel. I don't wear like sleeveless tops outside. I am rarely ever going to be sleeveless. And my sister messaged me after watching my video. She was like, yo, you're not wearing sleeves, how did we get here? And it was in a way that obviously celebrated me and encouraged me, but also was just asking, like, how do you get to that place of confidence to be able to show a part of your body which you're insecure about, or do something which brings you a little bit of anxiety, like going to the gym in the morning or going to a new gym, which I did this morning. And all these questions kind of came back to my mind of, how have I gotten to a place where I will show my arms and willingly do so, and it's not because it's hot outside, but obviously I'm in the comfort of my own home and I haven't gone outside because it's cold, but I would never do this. I would have never done this before. I would have been feeling so self-conscious, and my self-talk would have been extremely negative. I would have focused on my stretch marks, or, you know, focused on the rolls of my arms. My arms are like my biggest insecurity, and recently I've been doing my best to kind of embrace them. And I wanted to have a conversation about that journey, a conversation about kind of becoming unapologetic and becoming confident and really going on this journey of self-acceptance and the things that I've learned on this journey of self-acceptance. And I hope that everything that I share can help you. And I also want to hear from you about your journey of growing in confidence and self-acceptance. Is it something that you struggle with? Is it something that you're overcoming? And as always, even if you're new around here, let me give you the lowdown. The comment section of my videos is all for us to be a community, to talk with each other, share our experiences. It's a place where we give each other advice and we just lean on the stories of other people, but also it's a place of respect. So definitely, as we're engaging in this conversation, just remember that this place is a space of love, respect, and honoring one another. But without further ado, let's get into 5 things that I have learned on this journey of self-acceptance to becoming unapologetic and confident. Now, the first thing I learned on this journey of self-acceptance was you need to decide whose opinion matters to you and why. I think it's very easy to say, you know, nobody else's opinion matters and don't worry about other people's opinions and what they think of you. But I think as human beings, as people, we care about what people think. We care about people's impression of us. We care about belonging and fitting in and being accepted. And that's a very human thing, to seek a group to be accepted into. And I think it's a bit idealistic and unrealistic to think that we can just cast all of our desires to be accepted and belong away. It's a very human instinct. But I think it's dangerous to live according to everybody's opinion. With social media and media in general, it's so easy to get access to other people's opinions and what they think and their opinions about who you should be, what you should look like, what you should do. And because there are so many voices happening oftentimes at the same time, it becomes hard to divest or silence that noise, and you begin to start living according to other people's opinions. And so for me, the first thing I had to do was cut down the amount of voices that I was listening to, right? I think I've spoken about it before on this channel, but we often speak about it on the To My Sisters podcast, which is ending that cycle of over consuming content. And content can be obviously scrolling on your social media feeds, watching, YouTube videos like mine, listening to your favorite podcast, watching your favorite TV show, whatever it might be, but stop over consuming content. And obviously there's a place for binge watching. I love a good Netflix and stuff like that, but once I find that what I'm watching is affecting my view of myself, I am taking in something which is distorting my view of who I am, or influencing my view of who I am, how I should act, how I should feel when I'm in certain spaces, I will decide, is this a positive change for me? Is what I'm consuming changing my view of myself in a positive direction? And in terms of direction, you need to decide who are you trying to become? Obviously, if you're watching this video, I hope that you're trying to become more confident. I hope that you're trying to step into living as your true and authentic self and discovering who that is, and also allowing yourself to evolve and change over time as needs be. I hope that you have established a vision for your life, a vision for your career, a vision for your body, a vision for your family, a vision for whatever, right? A vision for the way you look. I hope that you've established that, and that's what you're trying to pursue, so that you can be happy and you can feel as though you're living to your fullest potential. You need to decide what direction you're moving in, and you need to also be aware enough to analyze the things that you are consuming and the people around you and the voices that you listen to. You have to be able to analyze whether they are driving you off course, or whether you are veering off the track which you need to be on to get to where it is you say you want to be. And for me, I really had to decide whose opinions actually matter to me. Is it the people on my social media feeds, my favorite YouTuber? Is it the person who I watch on TV? Is it my parents? Is it my siblings? It's not a bad thing to care about other people's opinions of you, but you need to decide whose opinion matters. The way you decide that is, why should this person's opinion matter to me? Are they in a position of power in my life? Are they, for example, my boss, or the people who are trying to help me elevate in my career, my mentors, right? Are they somebody who is in very close proximity to me and they see the true nature of who I am? I care about what my family think of me because they see the truth of who I am. I care about the opinions of my friends because they see the truth about who I am. However, I need to realize that I can't let anybody else write my story for me. And so whilst other people's opinions might inform me, they can't write my story for me. Do you get what I mean? You need to start writing your story for yourself. And so you listen to other people's opinions. And another way you kind of decide whose opinion actually matters to you is, who actually cares about me and who do I care about? But heavy on emphasis on the who cares about me, because it's easy to care for your favorite influencer, or care for the people who you watch, or care for your favorite podcaster, or the person who you listen to on a weekly basis. You can be very invested in their story. However, are they as invested in you? The people who love us are the ones who are invested in us. And I personally have decided to only care about the opinions of people who care about me, right? Because I have to be able to trust that your opinion about me is coming from a place of love and a desire to see me grow, and a desire to see me step into the fullness of who it is I need to be. I don't really want to hear opinions from people where the opinions are coming from their own insecurity and also their journey of self-discovery, right? Because the opinions might not be bad. Other people's opinions are not always bad, However, it might not be good for you. It might not be good for the direction that you are going in. So really taking time to think to yourself, whose opinion actually matters to me? Whose thoughts about me do I actually want to hear? And that brings me on to the second thing, which greatly helped me on this journey towards self-acceptance. And I'm not perfect, but I'm definitely getting there. And these are the things I'm implementing into my life. So lesson number 2 is Don't take for granted the power of prayer and affirmations. Now, depending on your faith, your beliefs, some people are more spiritual than they are religious. Obviously, there are so many different religions and faiths and creeds out there. But I think it's important to really focus on the spiritual aspect of growing in confidence and growing in being unapologetic. And the reason why I say this is because for me, oftentimes when I feel as though I am weak, I can draw on a power that is bigger than me. And you may not be a very spiritual person, and that's completely fine. Maybe you can skip to the next step, but I do think you should hear me out on this. Maybe you're somebody who hasn't really been taking their faith very seriously, and maybe you believe in God, but you haven't really been exploring what that means and how that affects you on a day-to-day basis. But one thing that I have noticed for me in my relationship with God as a Christian is the more that I learn about who God is and the more that I learn about God's opinion about me, the more confident I become and the more I feel entitled to live my life to the actual fullest. Now, a lack of confidence can stem from so many different places, and it's easy to let other people's truths about you reign over you as who you are. For myself, the more I remind myself of simple things like I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, my confidence isn't only in me. My confidence isn't only in, whether I feel good or not. It's placed on a truth about who God is, and my belief system is that God is unchanging, right? His views of me also are unchanging. And so firstly, if I believe that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, if Christ never changed, then I will always be strengthened. His strength that is being channeled towards me or channeled through me is not conditional on whether I feel capable or not. It just is a truth which I have to get to a point of faith to believe. Do I believe that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me? So that means as I go through these journeys of transformation, or I go through these journeys of having to do very hard things in order to change my life, or in order to serve my community better, or in order to, approach my career better, I need to be able to trust that I can actually do it, not because of who I am, but because of who God is, and allowing myself to have that level of dependence. And I think often with confidence and conversations about self-confidence, it can rely a lot on the self. And maybe I'll make a whole different video about this once I've thought through it more, but something doesn't sit well with me sometimes with those kind of conversations, simply because it doesn't give you room for error. A lot of times we talk about self-love and self-acceptance, and people will say, don't worry, you'll have an off day, but sometimes those off days can really throw you off if your entire confidence and your entire hope is built on yourself, And so for me personally, in days where I do feel weak, I don't feel like I completely got this, I do wake up feeling a bit anxious, or like I'm overwhelmed, I pray and I put my expectations and the weight of my hope on someone else. I put them on God. I put them on his track record. I put them on the things that he says that are true about me. And that's a very powerful thing for me. Now, you could do it with so many different things, right? A lot of people put their hope into other things, community, relationships they have, other sources of power that they believe in. And I just think it's important to have your hope in something that kind of feels bigger than you, and having some semblance of faith and allowing that faith to also channel your affirmations. So for me personally, I know that the view God has of me is never going to change, and I remind myself of that, right? I remind myself that I'm beautiful, that I'm a masterpiece, that I was wonderfully made. I remind myself that I am going through a process of transformation and refining, and that's going to be ugly sometimes, and sometimes that's going to be painful, but that's okay. It's meant to be. It's meant to be ugly sometimes. It's meant to be painful sometimes. I'm not a failure because I feel uncomfortable about the change that is happening in my life. This is not meant to feel good. This is not meant to feel easy all the time. I'm also reminded that the beauty of my character never fades, but my external beauty does. But it doesn't mean I don't invest in my external beauty. I just don't put all of my hopes in that. And so really taking time to get sorted out your prayers and your affirmations, taking 5 minutes a day, even if you're not used to it, to just pray, to speak to God, to communicate about your fears, the way you're feeling, but also remind yourself of who God is, and remind yourself of who you are and what the opinion of God is towards you. That has changed everything around me completely, because I think it's easy to approach religion to want to deal with the big things, you know, God, fix this, fix that, or God, you know, this is happening, can you do something, you know, or show me something, or whatever it may be. But what about talking to God about the small things, the things that we disregard but often are the rudders to the ship of our life, right? Why don't we trust God with the thoughts that we have about ourselves and the traumas that we may even be dealing with the past? And talking about trauma, I want to talk about the third thing which helped me on this journey to growing in confidence and becoming unapologetic, which is revisiting my story and rewriting a new story in new spaces. Now, if you've watched some of my past videos or you follow me on Instagram, then you know one thing that I do very often is go on solo dates, right? And a big way that I have been growing my confidence is by doing new things, especially when I'm alone, in new spaces. And the reason why I do that is because of this. I realized that a lot of my anxiety in certain spaces, especially ones which I have been in before, the anxiety or the feelings of a lack of confidence usually stem from the fact that when I was there the last time, or when I went there the first time, I had a negative experience, right? Maybe in the school playground you were bullied, and now as soon as you get around other people, you kind of want to shy away from people and talking and just being seen in general, because that is a fear that you have. Or maybe the first time you went to the gym, or the last time you were on that weight loss journey, you failed, and now you associate the gym or healthy eating with failure. Or maybe the last time you went somewhere with someone, it ended up being a negative experience, and now you associate those feelings with that space. And for me personally, going on these solo adventures to new cities, new restaurants, new cinemas, as simple as it may sound, allows me to start associating new feelings with new spaces, right? And I start to feel as though these spaces are actually my own. I'm not stepping into somebody else's space. I'm actually coming here to incorporate a new setting into my own story. And that kind of falls into main character energy, or romanticizing your life, but starting to realize that your life is a narrative. And you might feel as though the narrative of your story has been going one way. However, you can change the narrative. You can change the narrative of your life. The story of your life doesn't have to go one certain way. It can start to go in a different direction. But also, it's about your own mindset, right? Standing in that space and thinking, I can actually be anything that I want in this space. I can choose to be this really, and there's nothing wrong with timidity if that's your natural temperament. However, if you are shying away from being your full and true self and experiencing the full range of joy because you don't want to be seen, that's a decision you're making in your head. And it's not a decision you may even be making consciously, and it's probably not even a decision you want to make, but you're falling into that pattern that you have seen across your entire life when you enter new spaces. So for me, I deliberately put myself in these new spaces. You know, once a week I will go and do something on my own or with new people, because I'm conscious that this is what I'm doing. I will encourage myself, be confident in this space. And it could just be a change in posture, you know, talking to the waiters or the servers differently and smiling more and being more confident and being more kind towards myself and allowing myself to truly enjoy life. And that brings me to another thing. On this journey of self-acceptance and growing in confidence and just becoming unapologetic wherever you are and in whatever you are doing, you need to start allowing yourself to feel joy. A lot of us are holding ourselves back from actually experiencing the true vibrance and beauty of our lives because we are stuck in this belief that we shouldn't, that we don't deserve it, that we shouldn't have it, you know, because I look like this, because I'm from this background, because I speak like this, I shouldn't experience the full range of the joy that comes from this moment or from this instance or from this opportunity or from this space, right? For example, when I was in university, I spent 3 years of my degree. My degree was 3 years long, so my entire degree fighting the idea that I was an imposter in this space. By the time I got to my last semester or my last term, that was when I fully felt like I belonged here. I felt like I was smart enough. I had become more patient with myself, more graceful towards myself. I was getting used to the environment and the atmosphere and the pace. I had wasted 2.5 years, 2.5 years of new people, 2.5 years of meeting new people, 2.5 years of being in a beautiful city, 2.5 years of having access to different resources which I didn't have back home. I had wasted that time, I had wasted that experience. And when I think about the potential of how joyful that experience could have been, I felt as though I had been robbed. I had robbed myself, other people had robbed me because of the narratives that had been put on me as a person. And so I think it's important for you to realize that you need to deal with this ASAP, right? But also you need to just allow yourself. And a lot of us are the gatekeepers to our own joy and our own happiness, and we suppress the joy and the fullness of our emotions, even if it's negative, in certain spaces because we don't want to draw attention to ourselves, but also we just don't think we deserve it. And it's important for you to realize that you do deserve to feel joy. You do deserve to laugh out loud. You literally do deserve to laugh from the depths of your belly if a situation is funny to you, or to smile and to smile for yourself and to smile at the beauty of nature. And it's the smallest things that feel so moist, and it feels so like it just feels so like you just feel like such a beg sometimes. But sometimes it's even about dropping that wall and dropping that kind of hard and tough exterior that you may have built up over time, and just allowing yourself to be vulnerable in the fullest of emotions. And sometimes happiness and truly feeling joy feels like a vulnerability, and it's fine. Like, it's actually okay to laugh, smile. And it doesn't have to be with anybody. Like, you can smile, you can, as you're reading that book, laugh. Like, allow yourself to feel emotions, especially joy, especially happiness, especially when I sit in the cinema by myself, I will laugh. Like, if something is fun, I will laugh out loud. And I don't think, oh my gosh, I'm by myself here, people are going to think I'm weird. Because often we stop ourselves from showing the true emotions that we're feeling because people will think. And as much as we, think to ourselves, people will think of me as X, the people who are truly there living their life free and being authentic, they know people may think something about them, but they just don't care. Because at the end of the day, how much is someone's opinion really going to affect you, especially if it's not like a harmful kind of opinion? And that's why we have conversations about, policing certain people's happiness and policing certain people's joy in certain spaces, because often a lot of people feel as though they cannot be their full selves and they cannot actually have the audacity to exist as them for their full selves in certain spaces because they fear that other people will rob that of them. And so instead of allowing other people to come and police you, we self-regulate, we self-police. We don't laugh too loud in certain spaces. We don't draw attention to ourselves. We don't wear the shorts in the gym because, we got thicker thighs and we got some cellulite and we don't want to be, we don't want to have any attention drawn to us. So instead we self-regulate before anybody regulates us. But the thing is, we need to stop the policing altogether, because the policing is what robs the joy, right? When somebody tells you you shouldn't wear that, you feel upset, right? But our solution to that is to, instead of letting somebody else make us feel upset, we will just make ourselves upset by not wearing it with the belief that we shouldn't wear it. And we tell ourselves not letting someone else rob you of the joy, and instead robbing the joy yourself gives you some sort of power. But it doesn't. It just lets somebody else still have power over you. It's just they don't have to be there anymore to maintain their power. You'll do all the hard work for them. We need to get out of that mindset. You need to stop gatekeeping and policing your own joy and your own freedom to be in certain spaces, and your own freedom to truly explore yourself, the world, your mind in the way that you want to, in a way that excites you. I am doing all that I can to deliberately make sure that every day I do something or have something that sparks joy, that sparks happiness, love, creativity, excitement, whatever it might be. Because for me, I spent a long time feeling like I couldn't have these things. My life experiences may have been quite negative, and people's conversations about me or things that people have said about me may have been quite negative. And I've internalized those thoughts. Now my self-talk is negative, and I have stopped myself from truly experiencing the beauty of my life. As crap as some days might be, there is still a beauty, there is still some gratitude that can be extracted, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I can't really say I can't be grateful for my life, because I'm sitting here on YouTube with a camera. That's a privilege a lot of people can't even get, right? There's something that I can extract from my life. And talking about being deliberate, it brings me to my next 2 points. The first of which is start building a track record with yourself. Now, one thing that I have discovered about self-love and confidence is often based on track record. I can have confidence in this bed, the fact that this bed is holding me up, because every night for the last couple of months, this bed has been holding me up. It hasn't really failed me yet, so why would it fail me now? The reason why I have faith in God and confidence in God is because he hasn't failed me yet. Is he gonna start failing me now? Now, that might not always be easy to believe. However, it's easier to believe the further the track record goes. The longer I know that you have been consistent, the longer that I know that you have been, you showed up, the longer that I know you have been successful at doing something, the more trust I can have with you because you have a track record. And it's the same thing with us, right? It's the same thing with being able to trust yourself, love yourself, and be confident in yourself, being able to know that you have a track record which is reliable. Now, in the beginning, this doesn't always work. However, every time I think about not wanting to go to the gym, not wanting to eat right, not wanting to do something which I said I was going to do, starting to procrastinate, I think to myself, this is going to be a damage on my track record. And what it's going to do is make me insecure and make me doubt whether I can actually trust myself to do the things I say I will do, right? So as soon as I then say I want a good life, I start to think to myself, but I can't make a good life happen because my track record says I'm inconsistent, I self-sabotage, right? All of these other things. As soon as I start saying I want to get better relationships with friends, my track record might be telling me, you don't really do good with relationships, or you don't really stay committed, or you don't really follow through with the things that you say. You say you love yourself, but you do all these things which kind of show you that you don't. Or you say that you're happy when actually you don't show the truth, which is that you cry all the time and you're upset all the time and you're down all the time, and you haven't done anything necessary to fix that, and you haven't embraced the fact that that's the truth of where you are. Instead, you're suppressing all of these emotions, thinking it might scare other people away, or you just don't want to come to the reality of the fact that this is your life now. You do all of these things, and yet you're still trying to convince yourself that you love yourself. It doesn't make sense. You're not doing what you say you want to do. And as soon as there becomes a disconnect between what you say you want to do for yourself, or what you say you want to become, and what you're actually doing and your actions, you start to widen the gap of distrust that you have with yourself. And there is a relationship of trust that you have with yourself, right? Do I trust myself in certain situations? Do I trust myself to do what I say I'm going to do? Do I trust myself to go on this journey? But the question is more so, do I trust my track record? There's this question of trust that you have to have with yourself, and it's a feeling of safety that you have with yourself, and it also gives you confidence to know that no matter what, even if I do have a bad day, that was just a trip up, we can keep on going. And even if I'm not perfect every single day, at least I know I have a track record of getting back up when I fall. That matters. That really does matter. And so every opportunity you get to build on your track record, take it. And your journey's not going to be linear, and there are no perfect people. Trust me, there are no perfect people. However, you can start making better decisions. And so it's not a journey to becoming perfect, it's a journey of becoming better. So it really is about the progress. It really is about the decisions. It's about the accumulation and not just the result. And the last thing is get focused, have some tunnel vision, and fall in love with what you are doing. I think our confidence begins to waver when we start to lose focus. We start to focus on what other people are doing. We start to, again, overconsume and start being consumed by the opinions and the thoughts of other people. We start to get derailed, and we're not being derailed in a negative way. We're just slightly veering off more and more because we're distracted. We've changed our focus, and life is full of distractions. People can be distractions sometimes. Work can be distracting. However, it's really about getting your focus down. And I think the easiest way to get focused is to really fall in love with the journey and the process of becoming more confident. And it doesn't mean become, so obsessed about this journey and think you can't, you need to be exuding confidence when you sleep. That is not what it is, right? It's not about obsession. However, it is about focus, and focus is in the times when it's necessary, in the times where I feel the least confident, can I just get my mind to a point where I start making decisions or steps or start formulating habits which allow me to start feeling more confident, right? In those critical moments, can I change at least one thing, right? But in those critical moments, I need to focus. And a lot of us get distracted in those critical moments. We get distracted by our own thoughts. We get distracted by the thoughts of others. And it helps you to just start retraining yourself a little bit. However, sometimes you can allow yourself to just go with the flow. So no, focus on the assignment. The assignment is in these critical points, in these points where I feel as though I lack confidence. I feel like an imposter. I feel like I'm so I can become extremely critical of myself. I can start to downward spiral. I feel like I'm robbing myself of my joy. In those moments, can I just make a different decision? Can I change the decision I make? Once you ask yourself those questions and that becomes something you become focused on doing, things begin to change slowly but surely. And that's what I've learned. So I hope that this video has actually been helpful. I want to hear some of the lessons that you've learned on your journey of self-acceptance, becoming confident, becoming unapologetic, however far along that line you have progressed to. I want to hear all about what you have learned and any wisdom and nuggets that I know you have to share. And so definitely remember to comment down below. Go and read the comments. Maybe you're not really a talker, but you want to soak up some of the experiences of other people. Go and read those comments down there and let's just get this conversation going. As always, remember to like this video if you did like it, and please subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you never miss a video from me. I will talk to you very, very soon. I hope this video was actually helpful, and as always, stay beautiful and stay blessed. Mwah.